When the intensity in the practice will become bigger and bigger, you will just find yourself going on a walk and crying from love, driving your car and just having your heart shiver with ecstasy. Yes, the ego is necessary. I mean, in the tantric tradition, yes. There are 36 universal tattvas that exist as the matrix of manifestation. One of them is ahamkara, the ego. And yes, even there is a universal ego. It's a trait of God, if you may. But it's just the ego's healthy role, ahamkara means servant of I, is to create a very, very slight sense of individuality that will allow all the pieces to play in the whole, that will allow, so there are pieces and a whole. Yeah? Now we are in a stage in humanity where it's exaggerated. It's a stage of evolution, it's fine. Yeah? Once we activate enough love, that sense of egoism will decrease to its good degree. You know, it's like we make a cake, and that cake should have a touch of ginger. Just a touch, it's a very big cake. And that ginger is the ego. Now, instead of having a touch there, 80% of the cake is ginger. And then it burns you. And it doesn't coagulate properly, and nothing works properly. So we need to remove the ginger, but it's already in the cake. So it's complicated. But through love, for example, it can be done. Yes. Yes, so it's very good to study them, and since you are in a Tantra school, you will anyway combine all of them. Hatha Yoga you practice, and Raja Yoga you practice already, because you work with the chakras. I would definitely experiment with Bhakti Yoga, because it's amazing, and it's very, very liberating. And there are some people that fit with Jnana Yoga, people that have a very clear, very sharp mind, and that have this discernment and a very strong concentration can also follow the path of Jnana Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is basically accessible to everyone. Raja Yoga and Hatha Yoga, as I said, we all practice. Jnana Yoga for some. And then also, at least to try to practice Karma Yoga also is accessible for everyone. And as you will see, we will also learn about this in the future Tantra courses, if you once you reach a certain level of evolution, if you don't start to do Karma Yoga, you hit a glass ceiling. And I've seen people practicing literally 11 hours a day for 2 decades without Karma Yoga and looking like dried prunes. Because the heart dries out when you don't also help others. So this combination of intense practice and at least some Karma Yoga, helping others to evolve spiritually, is essential for everyone. It is absolutely essential. So you basically, since you are in this school, you don't need to choose. The only thing that's kind of optional is Jnana Yoga. All the others, if you walk this path, you will go with all of them. And as you will see, eventually the last path, the last step, normally we take with Jnana Yoga. When you reach a very, very high step, then you ask, who am I? And free yourself into the absolute. So anyway, this school that we are in is a synthesis of these 5 traditions, and Kundalini Yoga, of course, will come as well. Yes, well, you strengthen very much the intensity. You strengthen the intensity in your practice. You crack open to such fundamental degrees. Just think of your worst trauma and then switch it backwards to the most ecstatic experience. Yeah, because it conditions itself. The intensity is the key. So when Blandine and I have a fight, which we never have, we agree that we never fight. Sometimes I just tell her, look, I'm going to pray. And by now she says, okay. Because she knows I come back, I say, I'm sorry. So I just reach such and I have, of course, very good reasons. I'm very righteous, very good reasons to be angry. But the intensity of prayer is so big that it dissolves the righteousness of the ego. It dissolves selfishness. It brings instead of it love. When the intensity in the practice will become bigger and bigger, you will just find yourself going on a walk and crying from love, driving your car and just having your heart shiver with ecstasy. But the key in Bhakti Yoga is intensity, and as you will see, you will need to balance it with the control of the mind and silence. Otherwise, that intensity takes a lot of stuff out.
Yes, in a way, yes. They are completely distinct energies, but of course they are part of the same universal canvas. These godly attributes, they are the bricks of consciousness. And Eros is a brick of consciousness, and so is love. Godly love, godly Eros. So yes, as you attune more to godly love, godly Eros awakens. As you attune more to godly Eros, godly love awakens, for sure, 100% sure. But they are still distinct. So not necessarily will you now, just because you gain access, let's say, to these different attributes, doesn't mean they just pop out and hit you in the face necessarily. So it is still good to evoke each of them. Like, let's say, awakening godly Eros will, of course, bring you also in touch with godly discernment. But very likely you will need to go there and access it and just, become aware that connection is strengthened, and it might not just pop out by itself.
So love involves a kind of total identity, or taking the entire person in and fusing in and out. Compassion, it involves taking deep responsibility for the other person's needs. Compassion. Together we have passion. So in compassion, we identify particularly with the needs of others. Whereas in love, we fuse for the joy of fusion. And of course, it includes compassion, because when you love, you also care about the needs of others. But compassion is a distinct facet in which suddenly the needs of others are your needs, and you feel a dynamism, an enthusiasm to fulfill their needs, a joy in fulfilling other people's needs. That would be the difference there.
Hey guys, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content on spirituality, Tantra, and more.
And if you want to sign up for our online classes or for our retreats, you can see our website on the description below.